And you are at the Leadership Speak Club meeting. It is a self-directed leaders where leaders are committed to the roles they take on. They use their calendar wisely, entering the commitment undertaking into being self-directed. Our Toastmaster for today is none other than Toastmaster Sudarshan Shehaderi, and he is a banker by profession and a storyteller by passion. He has been a Toastmaster for over 8 years. His passion includes reading, music, and long distance running. Give me a P, give me a C, give me a R. Do you know what it is? Well, he is going to guide our meeting with this team. Let's welcome him to the virtual lectern. Toastmaster Sudarshan Sudrashi.
Thank you very much, Fabiola. That was as polite an introduction as I've ever had. Thank you so much once again for that. Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and to-be Toastmasters, how many of you know what does PCR stand for? We've all gone through that. We've all experienced it. Some of us more number of times than the others. So if a couple of you can just put your hands up virtually and tell me, do you know what PCR stands for? Yes, I can see Brent and a couple of others. PCR, for those that don't know, maybe those actually they were in Canada, was the test that we used to administer to identify whether an individual has COVID or not. The painful nasal swabs that each of us went through, that was the PCR. But no, I'm not here to talk about COVID. I'm not here to talk about nasal swabs and the likes. I'm here to talk about another type of PCR. What that is shall unravel as the meeting goes on. And we shall all discover together that a self-directed leader essentially goes through this PCR test pretty much every day of their living life. And those that go through this test with a smile on their face, with a hope in their heart, and with the courage that it takes, they are the ones that stand apart from the crowd and are counted among those that are successful leaders. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what Leadership Speak is all about, isn't it? We are here to become the best version of our leadership selves that we can ever be. And in that journey, as the old saying goes, it's not the biggest, it's not the strongest, it's not the fastest who actually stand out and become winners. It is those persistent ones, those resilient ones, those consistent ones. They are the ones who ultimately pick up the winner's trophy and stand atop the mount saying, I have made it. Let's look at during today's meeting, how do we get to that point? What are the key ingredients that are required for anyone to instill this PCR in them? However, at this stage, I would like to talk to all of you about how our meeting is going to transpire. Our meeting is divided into multiple segments. The opening segment is where we have the toast of the day, and following that is our prepared speeches, after which there is going to be a short break. We reassemble, we get into table topics, after which comes the evaluation session. And all of this is entirely packaged together as a Toastmasters meeting, as it usually is. So as I've told you already, the first segment of our meeting is where we are going to have the toast of the day. And to deliver the toast of the day, I'm going to call upon stage someone who, like me, is trying hard to perfect that golf swing, to ensure that someday, somewhere in the clubhouse, we shall be treating everyone to a drink because we scored the first hole in one possible. That is Toastmaster Brent Pattinson. He has been a Toastmaster for the past 3 years, and when he is not Toastmastering, he is out there consulting people on how to become better at whatever they're trying to achieve. He is going to deliver the toast of the day. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Toastmaster Brent Pattinson to deliver the toast of the day. Toastmaster Brent, the stage is all set for you.
Thank you, Sudarshan. As Sudarshan just let us know, PCR actually is an acronym. It's a microbiology term, polymerase chain reaction. What it actually means is that it rapidly creates copies of specific traits of genetic DNA. I actually found this rather fitting to this real meeting theme. That is, that we're trying to identify the traits that can be replicated to create great leaders through a chain reaction of sharing those traits with one another. Now, we know that the traits of exceptional leaders, including persistency, consistency, and resiliency, they're not actually in our DNA, but we make them ourselves. And yes, they can be replicated. All of us can become exceptional leaders. To me, this speaks directly to the vision of Leadership Speak. That is to be the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. And how we will do that, our club mission, is that we're the club where Toastmasters come to learn the art of self-directed leadership through continuous innovation and the use of technology to strengthen connections with and between the people we lead. And why do we do this? Because we each want to become better self-directed leaders by learning, innovating, and connecting. So please join me in raising a toast to creating a chain reaction of success by sharing the traits of self-directed leaders through learning, innovating, and connecting persistently, consistently, and resiliently. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Brent. Indeed, connecting persistently, consistently, and resiliently is what is going to take us further. Very, very important elements that we need to take into account as we progress on this journey. As is the regular activity that we perform at Leadership Speak, we have a bevy of speakers lined up. But as they always say, a leader usually is the result of a great team behind him or her. And today I have with me two very, very capable individuals who are going to help me run this meeting and run it very efficiently. The first among them is a Toastmaster who we saw in action last week. He's been blessed with a baritone voice. He seems to come across the screen as someone who's in full control of what he's doing and at all times knows exactly what he's going to say. I have asked him ignoring me, but that doesn't matter because today he's going to come across the screens to all of us as our grammarian of the day. So the first role player that I would like to introduce is our grammarian Toastmaster Ram Lakhanpal, a distinguished Toastmaster Ram Lakhanpal. DTM Ram, could you please unmute yourself and tell us about your role and introduce the word of the day as well?
Hey, Ram, you're on mute.
Toastmasters from around the world, very good Saturday morning to all of you. And thank you, Toastmaster, for this morning. And it, it teaches us to, Toastmaster teaches us to be very cognizant of the various roles we take and to use proper English. As a grammarian, I'll be listening to the English language usages, noting any improper language, any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. This morning's word of the day is a very simple one which everybody can use. And I'd like to encourage you. Could we do it maybe 15 times today? A very simple word called consistent. It's an adjective, which means acting or done in a same way, unchangingly in nature. Two examples I'd like to use for that word is Larry's sales are consistently good every year. He meets the budgets every time, consistently. There's a hockey player here for those that play hockey, or I played hockey. Austin Matthews is one of the biggest scorers in Toronto here. And Austin Matthews has consistently scored 40 goals or better since joining the NHL 5 years ago. And I'll be looking out for other things as well, the typical thing, and just for instance, filler words, etc. And with that, I'm looking for a good meeting. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
I see that we lost our Toastmaster of the day for a moment. I would like to ask if our timer could please go on.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, great. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I am Nikita, the timer for today. As we all know, great leaders are on time, but also good timing helps us to speak more effectively. So today I will be timing the speakers, the evaluations. We started on time, which is good. Our speakers' timing is 5 to 7 minutes. I will be showing the green card, at 5 minutes, the yellow card at 6 minutes, and the red card at 7 minutes, and you have 30 seconds to wrap up. For our first speaker, I believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, green will be shown at 10 minutes, yellow at 12 minutes, no, at 11 minutes, and red at 12 minutes with 30 seconds to wrap up. Our evaluations are 1 to 3 minutes long, green at 1 minute, yellow at 2 minutes, and red at 3 minutes. Thank you very much. Enjoy the meeting.
Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, that was an example of technology testing me and my resilience. Just when I was about to speak and introduce the next role player, the gods of technology decided that the Wi-Fi at my place will crash. Well, as I was persistent, I have got another device with another connection, and hey, I'm back. Right now, we have our first speaker who is delivering the leadership speak. This is a speaker coming to us all the way from Kenya. She is, like me, a relatively new member of this club, and she's been a Toastmaster for a whopping 17 years. She is Rozy Rana. She is in her profession, I believe, at the leadership level of her own organization. And when I asked her, what does persistence mean to you? She says her entire career journey has been an example of persistence. Ladies and gentlemen, to deliver our leadership speak talk for the next 10 to 12 minutes, I would like to invite up on stage Toastmaster Rozy Rana. Toastmaster Rozy Rana, the stage is all set for you.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Okay. So a negative can be turned into a positive simply by one vertical line. But to turn negativity to positivity, one needs a stroke of genius. Fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, but today, our Toastmaster Suarshan has waved a magic wand. He has taken those images we had of, that horrible cotton bud shoved up our nasal cavity just to check whether or not you had contracted the dreaded coronavirus. And with that one stroke of magic wand, today PCR stands for persistence, consistency, and resilience. 3 positive traits that we all need for success. For each one of these, I'd like to just talk through some examples and how we as self-directed leaders can apply each one of these for our success. So persistence. Whether or not you enjoy KFC chicken, I know you can all see that logo there. The story of the founder of KFC is one that is truly inspiring and is one of persistence and determination. The story goes that Colonel Harlan Sanders set up a restaurant after having worked for many years. And in that restaurant, he was not serving chicken, not. And the reason he was not serving chicken was because he felt chicken was taking too long and he needed to serve his meals fast. So he kept on experimenting with this recipe. And then he got this light bulb moment and he managed to fry the chicken in a pressure cooker with some special spices and herbs. And he nailed it. So he was very excited and he introduced this chicken. But unfortunately, there was a setback thereafter. And though his sales picked up in the beginning, they really fell badly. And time went by and he was due to retire at the age of 65 and he had zero in savings. His business was doing poorly, so he got his first Social Security check, which was for $105. Sanders decided he would use this check to buy the pressure cooker and herbs and start trying to sell his recipe. So he went from door to door, doors of houses, doors of restaurants, trying to convince people to buy his recipe. Now imagine you trying to go door to door, cold selling. How many people do you think would buy from you? Well, there have been varying stories, but legend has it that it was 1,009 no's that Colonel Sanders got before he got his first yes. Now, if this is not persistence, then I don't know what is. But not only did he get his first yes, he has continuously thereafter received royalties. And today, KFC is one of the top 5 franchises in the world. It's raking in millions, and it is one of the only franchises, at least one that I know, that has the picture of the founder on its logo. You can see that, man in his white suit, black stripe, gray, white beard. He really did it for his brand. And that is outside 24,000 plus restaurants across the world. And they say in approximately 140 something countries. Isn't that incredible? So today, whether we like it or not, this speaks of persistence and this speaks of when you want something and believe in it. And so what is the lesson? The lesson here is keep knocking until the door opens. Because as Colonel Sanders' door opened, so will you. I also suggest that it helps to have support groups because it's very easy to kind of give up. But if you have support groups, they keep you on track. But more than support groups, I also think it's very important to have true tellers in your circles. True tellers are those people who will not just elevate and empower you. They'll tell you if you are going wrong. Because this is very important. You may not see your blind spots in that struggle, but they will help you see them. So when it comes to persistence, just have a vision and persist at it. Brahms talked of his, and we've heard earlier from our Toastmaster, the person who delivered our toast, his vision and his level of persistence. So the second one, consistency. And yeah, it's the word of the day too. So I think I get 1 point there or some brownie points for consistency already. But consistency, as we were told, stands for uniformity or regularity. Now, for me, when I think of consistency, and I'm in the coffee business and I'm in the manufacturing business, and the one thing that really, really comes up is the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen. Now, the word Kai means change, and the word Zen means good. Now, in Kaizen, it means that when you are focusing on a goal, you're not looking for, a game changer. You're not looking for there's no such thing as an overnight success. Essentially, you get, and if you keep working, you will have incremental improvement. When you get this incremental improvement, reflect upon it. Think through whether you've achieved better, how you've achieved better, and then keep refining and keep working at further incremental improvements until you achieve your goal. And here is like in many, many industries, from Toyota, Mitsubishi, they've all practiced Kaizen, most of the Japanese countries, and then they've brought it to other countries. As I said, even in my company, being a manufacturing zone, we make sure all our processes go through Kaizen, but it is not limited to manufacturing. All brands that are well known today, from your Microsoft to your Google to your Apple, and even Toastmasters, because of that consistent look throughout, that look remains memorable. But the more they practice consistent practices, the stronger will be their brand. In fact, today, when we attend a meeting of Leadership Speak, or we attend a meeting in our home clubs, yes, some of the dynamics will be different, but to a large degree, we will follow the same structure. We follow one education program, which is consistent. We have timers, we have grammarians, we have the toast. Maybe the toast may not be everywhere. We have evaluators, and we are learning. So those elements are what really makes us strong. So think of whatever you're aspiring to. Be persistent in getting it, but then think, what are those incremental steps that I can keep making towards that goal? As you make them, reflect and refine. So on to our third, which is resilience. Now, I did say, if you're consistent, you're sure to get your goal. Yet, resilience talks about the capacity to recover from setbacks. So is it a given that a setback will happen? Well, life has hills and valleys, ups and downs, and more likely than not, there will be impositions from the external environment, whether it is just as simple as your competition or bigger shocks in life that will happen, at which time you must look at how you can bounce back, because if you don't, then that's the sure time that you will begin to die. So start to change course, pivot, start being curious, start finding out what you can do to be adaptable. The most important is, do not focus just on the problem, but look at the solution. And I would say, the biggest talked about event nowadays is obviously the post-pandemic, or when the pandemic hit, how people had to be resilient in order to remain in business, remain in whatever they were doing. A lot of people became despondent. Maybe the pandemic was a little drastic, but you are likely to have these setbacks. At Toastmasters, we should be very proud, because while we may have lost a certain number of clubs, we would have disintegrated a lot more had it not been for us pivoting, changing course, curating, and embracing this online environment. Today, I feel very proud, because not only did we get back on our feet in our own clubs, we were able to join and come to clubs like the one we are in today. So with that, ultimately, I say to you, have an aspiration, a vision, be persistent in the path. Stay consistent, keep reflecting, keep refining. Know that we are in a world of uncertainty. So it is not if, but when. And when something happens, don't be despondent. Just find ways to change course, to curate, to re-engineer, or as Bram says, to keep reinventing and pivot for new successes. And even as I say all of this, in life, as things go on, it's very easy to experience burnout. It's very easy to experience a sense of overwhelm. So at all times, look after your mental health, eat healthy, exercise, meditate, do the things that work for you, and consistently find new ways to do things. And Believe me, if we do this and we stay on our course for positivity, then I'm very sure that these are the elements that will even change your PCR to CPR and revive you and keep you thriving all the time. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Rozy. That indeed was a very, very different take on the PCR. Fellow Toastmasters, Toastmaster Rozy spoke to us about Colonel Sanders. That is one example among so many. The closer examples that we want to look at could be found from the world of sport. One great sportsman that I used to admire a lot growing up was a tennis player by the name of Ivan Lendl. When he was asked, "You don't seem to have too much talent, yet you're always there in the finals, in the semifinals of all the Grand Slams. How do you do that?" He says, "I have a routine. Win or lose, rain or shine, every day before breakfast, I have finished hitting 1,000 tennis balls across the net." Ladies and gentlemen, this level of consistency is where a person really begins to find himself or herself. But even more than the consistency is the level of persistence. Whether you are winning or losing, whether you've had a good day or a bad day, do you do the things that took you far and will keep you taking further? Or do you find a reason to pull the brakes and say, "Today I will take a break. I will not go out for that run. I will not make that presentation today because I don't feel like it." That is when the cookie starts crumbling. That is when a self-directed leader looks deep within and says, there will be good days, there will be not so good days. Do I do the same set of things that have brought me this far properly and earnestly or not? And today we have three speakers who are displaying this level of persistence. They have prepared, they have engaged with their mentors, they have put their effort in creating a speech which they believe is a slice of who they are. And they are going to come and demonstrate that to all of us. We have three very capable speakers who will be evaluated by their respective evaluators as well. And these speakers demonstrate one of the three key qualities, which is persistence. Persistence in preparation, persistence in delivery, persistence in taking feedback for what it is and improving again. This indeed is a trait of a self-directed leader. And to begin the proceedings of our prepared speeches, the first speaker to come up on stage is Toastmaster Mrinal.
Mr. Toastmaster, excuse for 1 second. Madam Timer, please raise your virtual hand so you will be always at the first spot. So everybody can see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster. So the first speaker for the day is Toastmaster Mrinal Kanti Ghosh. He's coming to us all the way from Kolkata in India. He works as a marketing access manager for a pharmaceutical company, GlaxoSmithKline. He is delivering a speech, which is a level 4 speech from Dynamic Leadership. But to give us more details, I would like to call upon his evaluator to define the speech objectives and tell us exactly what Toastmaster Mrinal is going to talk to us about. Toastmaster Lokesh, if you're in the meeting, could you do us the honors?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. So the purpose of this project is for the member to practice developing a change management plan. The purpose of this speech for the member to share some aspect of a change management plan. And timer, please note the speech time is speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best, Toastmaster Mrinal. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Toastmaster Mrinal. Embrace the change, Toastmaster Mrinal. The stage is all set for you.
Growth is painful. Change is much more painful. But nothing is painful as staying stuck somewhere else where you are not deserved for that. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow distinguished Toastmaster, dear Toastmaster, and dear guest. Today, I request you to all of you, please raise your hand. Those who not fail in life. Anyone who are not struggling in your life, not fail in your life? Yes, absolutely right. Even in the decade of the most successful people also struggle their life and they bring the changes in their life. Thomas Edison, thousands times failed in their life. And finally, what gives to the world? Second, I'm talking about who thinks Mark Zuckerberg, a social media, create one of the most successful people in the world. How can it possible? That's the innovation. Steve Jobs, we all know. These people already create history. Why these people create history? It's not like that. They are always success in their life. Struggle and success is there thousands years before, its presence, and will be there in the future also. But how to take you as a positive note, that's up to you. Similar way, I just want to share my true story. When I was small, I have a dream to becoming in the corporate world, to be leader in the success in the corporate world. But it's not so easy. It's very challenging. I believe in three things. Dream big, chase your dream, and if you follow your life, nobody can stop you. Even I just give an example of 7 years before only. Although I'm the luckiest person because I'm a part of one global audit team as a sample, but I learned a lot of new things. So I always believe if you fall, you always try to fall forward, not backward. So that's my belief. With that, how I'm consistent, what are the rules I try to follow in my life to become consistent and become self-motivated? Because in our club, we all are self-directed leader. But how can it possible? Why we all join Leadership Speak? We all know the change is consistent. But what are the things you need to follow in your life to becoming a better version of yourself and you should direct it to others? I just give you an example why I'm consistent. I follow the Pareto principles. We all know the 80-20% principles that is apply for your personal life also and even professional life also. What I do, I try to do 80% of work in the peak time of my energy level that I need to follow. So that's I follow almost 1 year. So another thing is also I'm doing to-do list as a part of 80% of my work. Before sleeping, I just write it down, what are the work I need to do in the next day. And next day, in the night, I just go through my planning part, whether I executing all the things or not. I know these are all very simple things, but I trust you just practice in your daily life and you can see the changes. So that's if you need to do. And then what I follow, I just follow a simple equation. Why I'm doing to-do list? Is there anything benefit? Then I follow the model, it's called MTRR. M means measure, T for target, R for result, and another R for reflection. So whatever work I'm doing, what is my reflection? I go through in front of the mirror. If same thing I'm doing for the last 10 days, who am I? There is only one life. And you need to create history in your life. You should be self-motivated. Everyone's stuck in their life, some positive and negativeness. But I always try to prefer surrounding people around the positivity. If you stress, if you're not success in your life, if you fail, nobody can help you. Only you can help you with a positive note. Another thing I just want to discuss with all of you. One simple thing you just practice in your life. You can gain the creativity as well. Meditation. Yeah. You do meditation in the morning and morning exercise. It's increase your energy level by 80% in the first time. It's a proven that we need to do. Because if you not change, you never be success in your life. See the example, company, a giant company like Nokia, leader in the market, in the mobile phone. It's like a monopoly. And today, nowhere. Company like Kodak, we all know what happened to Kodak. They are not accept the change and where they are now. So like a big organization, even like I'm talking about even car company also, how Tesla bring changes to the modern world. Change will happen. See what happening in the transition from Nokia 1100 to now becoming Apple 14 Pro. So there's the technology advancement is going on. Who do this? We as a people. So it should not stuck in one place. We need to change because consistency changing is only our goal. And one more thing I just want to advise to all of you. Don't stuck in one place. Just move around there. Try to analyze yourself. What is your purpose in your life? What you want to do? Make a plan, make a change plan, and follow your dream. And hopefully, in your path, you have a beautiful people in your life. So chase your dream and embrace the change. What do you think? Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much. Change is the only consistent. Take a take on that from a very different perspective. Toastmasters and guests, this is the time that you can take to give feedback to our speaker, Toastmaster Mrinal. Take 30 seconds and jot down your thoughts on the chat window of Zoom and give him that valuable feedback which will enable him to become an even better speaker as he goes along. Timer, can you give me 30 seconds and indicate when 30 seconds are up? In the interest of time, let's keep pushing ahead. The next speaker to come up on stage is someone that's come across to me today when the meeting opened as a bundle of energy. Someone that is raring to go and deliver her speech to all of us. She is someone that's been with this program for a very, very short time, ladies and gentlemen. She's been with this program only for the past 20 years. Not too long, isn't it? Just 20 years in Toastmasters. How is that for consistency? A big round of applause just for that. 20 years in Toastmasters takes some doing. And in this long period that she spent with this program, she's learned a lot. She's learned a lot about herself, her leadership styles, and today she's going to come and demonstrate a lot of what she's learned because that's what her project is all about. But lest I steal the thunder from her evaluator, I'm going to request her evaluator, Toastmaster Muhammad, to please read out the specific objectives of Toastmaster Sandy's speech before I give the stage to her. Toastmaster Muhammad, could you please do us the honors?
Yeah. You are able to hear me, right?
Yep, clear.
Okay, thank you. So, Toastmaster Sandy is going to deliver a speech on persuasive influence, understanding your leadership style. In this project, the Toastmaster is going to share some aspect of a chosen leadership style or leadership styles in general, discuss style preferences when working with others, now to adapt the chosen leadership style to situations or leadership style in general and how they impact a group. The speech is for 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you, Toastmaster Muhammad. The push, the kick, and the nudge. Toastmaster Sandy, the push, the kick, and the nudge. Toastmaster Sandy, the stage is all set for you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster. I'm sorry, Mr. Toastmaster. I don't know where I would be today without the help of some amazing mentors, both in my local Toastmasters community and now, so exciting, my global Toastmasters community. Those mentors and their influence continue to shape the leader in me and my growth as a leader. And today, I'd like to share a few stories with you that my coaches have taught me, and I teach my clients, and I use these approaches, and they've really helped me grow as a self-directed leader, especially if you are consistent with these approaches. Now, if you're like me, sometimes when you need to make a decision or you have a goal, you may need a little coaching. You may need a push, or you might need a kick in the pants, or sometimes just a gentle nudge will do. Let me tell you that in 2014, I needed a push. A friend of mine heard that the TEDx people were coming to my little town on the globe of Sudbury, and they were taking auditions. And he said, "You're a Toastmaster, you should audition." And of course, well, not of course, but at the time, I did not believe. I had a lot of self-doubt, and I thought the TED stage was for scientists and inventors and that kind of thing. Well, he kept at me, and he lives near me. And so I did what anybody would do. I started to avoid him, but he kept finding me until finally one day he said, "Sandi, today is the last day for auditions, and I'll go with you." And so I did. And I did it, all because of a mentor giving me a push. And I needed that push, and I've grown as a leader ever since. Now, the kick is a little more harsh than the push. And I'd like to tell you about a time when I needed a kick, because once again, the story and the self-doubt got in the way of my growing in my leadership style. And it was a great lesson that now I can share with you. Many years ago, I worked with a partner who always did the driving, who always arranged the transportation when we were to work in various places throughout the country. And he got so busy at one point that he said, "Sandi, you've got to drive. I can't make it." Not a pretty good driver in Northern Ontario with snow tires and snow and dodging moose. I'm very comfortable driving. As I get older, I can't see much at night. But what I've never been good at and always been afraid of is driving where there is a lot of traffic, 8 lanes, 6 lanes, ramps and signs and merging. And he said something that at least in Canada they say, and I don't like it, so don't ever use it. He said to me, "Sandi, put your big girl pants on and get in that car and drive." So I did, but I cried all the way. I said really bad things about him in my head, and I gripped the steering wheel all the way there. But you know what? I made it. And I'm no longer afraid to drive. I know how to work a GPS, Brom. I have driven to Toronto, Ottawa, major cities, anxiety-free. And now the last of the strategies, the nudge. The nudge is very gentle. I thought Brom was like that when I first joined this club. He taught me about the nudge because he was soft and he was consistent, as some of you may know. And then, by luck, he redirected me to Marianna, the club's VP of Education. I don't know if I would include her in the nudge, actually. No, just kidding. Marianna, she means business. Whew! Brom is her mentor, and she's mentoring me. And she gently guides and gently nudges me, partially right now because she knows that's what I need. Sometimes I don't need the nudge. Sometimes I need the kick or the push. But with Marianna leading our club, what she continues to do with consistency is say things to me or text, because we don't live in the same place. Sandi, you can quit if you want to, but I believe in you. Sandi, I know you haven't had time to do your speech, and you can cancel if you want to, but I believe in you. You can do this. Just pull it together. And that, my friends, my global friends, is an example of the push when you need it as a leader or as the person being led, the kick in the pants, or the nudge. 3 approaches to your leadership style that I hope can help you grow your leadership style. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. The PCR needs the PKN treatment. If you don't get the push, kick, or the nudge at the right time, the entire PCR piece can fall to pieces. Thank you very much for that. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, take 30 seconds to give feedback to Sandi. Nikita, if you could please indicate when 30 seconds are up. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's turn the ship in a different direction now. We've heard a lot about what do you do from within. The next speaker is going to talk to us about what can you do from the outside in and tell us a lot about that aspect of leadership. The next speaker is someone that's well known to each and every club member. She is someone that's available on Zoom probably 24/7. I've connected with her at 11 p.m. my time. I've connected with her at 7 a.m. my time. And she was there with a smile, a cup of coffee, or maybe a fancy juice even. I don't know what it was. But she is someone that's available to all of us. She's steering the ship along with our club president, Brahm. She is our VP Education, Toastmaster Marianna. She is going to deliver a speech. And before I introduce the speech itself, I would like to request her evaluator, which is Brahm, to tell us the specific objectives of this particular speech. Toastmaster Brahm, could you please do us the honors?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Marianna. What we are looking for today is that she did this speech last night at another club in California, and I was there to watch, and now she's going to redo the speech and improve upon the recommendations. And so it's strategic relationships, evaluation, and feedback part 2, which is to present a speech or the same speech and incorporate some of the feedback that has been received previously. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, our next speaker, Toastmaster Marianna, has been a Toastmaster for the last 4 years. As I've already said, she's our VP of Education. She is someone that is determined to get to her DTM this year. She is wearing multiple hats in this program as an area director for the second time, as a club president, and as the VP Education. Whew, even reading that out took some effort. I need some nutrition, and she is going to talk to us all about the intricacies of nutrition. Intricacies of nutrition, Toastmaster Marianna Burka. Toastmaster Marianna, the stage is all set for you.
Nutrition. There is so much misinformation out there. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. First of all, now we call nutrition a science. Really? When I was born, we called it my mother. Yes, my mother prepared the food, we ate it, and we were nourished. So did my mother's mother and her mother, and so on and so forth, all the way back to the beginning of human history. No science was involved. And yet, they did a good job. How do I know they did a good job? Because we are here, all of us. And I want you to sit up tall, be proud of yourself, because you are, all of you, a miracle. Yes, you are a miracle. Just think about it. For you to be here, and I'm not talking about this meeting, to be alive, you needed a mother with a healthy egg, and you needed a father with a healthy sperm, and a rather fast one too, in order to create you. But not just that, but your mother and father needed a mother and father, and so did they, all the way back to the beginning of human evolution. You are an evolutionary miracle with no weak link, because we know evolution doesn't like weak links. On the other hand, I do love the fact that we call nutrition a science. I mean, look at me. Hey, I'm a scientist. Wow. And I never even liked mathematics and pure-heartedly despising physics. And here I am. But what kind of science is nutrition? Let's do some comparison. We do have physics. And within physics, we have Newtonian physics, which is very consistent. If you understand the rules, if you know the equation, it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, you will get the same result. Consistency is science. In physics, there's another side. It's called quantum physics. No, we don't know that much about it. Hence, physicists call themselves theoretical physicists. And that's a fair warning that, hey, this is how we think it is. This is how it should be. We could be wrong. And that's fair. Now, nutrition science concentrates on the human body, that miracle you all have. And we do know that our human body works on quantum physics principles. Yet, did you ever hear a theoretical nutrition scientist? Oh no, we nutrition scientists, we know. Actually, it is science-based, we say. And that's how we end up with one well-known, well-educated nutrition scientist organizes an experiment, a study, and gets a result. And the other well-known, well-educated nutrition scientist organizes a similar experiment and gets a very different results, not even close. And they're not coming together to figure it out, why is it different? No, spread it out to you, my friends, figure it out. And that's how we end up, that one day, 30 gram protein is enough for a human body for a day, not more than 50. And the next day, you need at least 100 grams of protein, or maybe even 200. And one day, a glass of red wine is good for you. And the next day, no alcohol whatsoever. It kills your brain, it kills your liver. No, no, no. Well, as for me, I'm with the French on that one. So we're talking about these complicated processes, autophagy and ketones. They're telling you to teach your body to make ketones. My friends, your body knows how to make ketones. Your body uses autophagy to clean your cells. You might have to stop eating time to time, but your body knows what to do. All those vitamins and minerals, you need this, you need that much, not too much. Take it, don't take it. And you, my miracle friend, sitting there, scratching your head and wishing that it was your mother who gives you nutrition advice. But no, science is here. And I do love science. But science is complicated. And the human body is extremely complicated. However, keeping it healthy is simple. I would like to finish with a quote, Michael Pollan. He said, eat food, not too much, mostly plants, and you'll be just fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. That's what I do. But if you look at me, I look like a pumpkin that I eat. So maybe there is some more science that I need to apply. But thank you very much for telling us a lot about what nutrition is all about. At this stage, I would like to request Madam Timer to please share with us the time that was taken by all the four speakers. Kindly include Toastmaster Rozy's speech as well in this. So the timing for the four speakers are there in the chat. As I can see it, all the four speakers are well within the allotted time. And at this stage, I would like to inquire if the voting is going to happen now, or are we going to do the voting toward the end of the meeting? Toastmaster Marianna, there it is, it's on the screen. So Toastmasters can vote at this stage. So all Toastmasters, please go ahead and cast your vote for who you think is the best speaker among the three. And as you're doing that, kindly also take a few seconds to jot your thoughts down to Toastmaster Marianna, because your feedback will certainly help her. Madam Timer, how are we doing on time? Are we on track? Great. So as and when you finish voting, it is time for taking a quick bio break. So kindly stretch your legs, walk around your room wherever you're sitting, and come back in exactly 5 minutes. So we have a 5-minute break. And at this point in time, as I can see from the chat, for all our guests, kindly put down your details so that we could be in touch. As you've already seen, this is a great club to be a part of. If you leave your details with us, you will get to know more about what we do, how we do, why we do, etc. So take a 5 minutes break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll reassemble after 5 minutes. Are the 5 minutes done, Madam Timer? Given that we are running a few minutes late,
It's
I
not
think
5 minutes yet, but we're welcome to reconvene.
yeah, let's reconvene and let's continue. I'm sure those that have taken a break will come back and rejoin. Ladies and gentlemen, now we move to the next segment of our meeting, which is in essence an opportunity for everyone that is participating in this meeting to display their level of persistence. Big or small, long or short, a speaking forum is meant for you to speak, and a table topic session is the right opportunity for you to come and test out your skills of public speaking. To conduct this session, I'm going to call upon a Toastmaster who's been with the program from the year 2005. She is someone that's holding the role of a parliamentarian for District 82. And in her own words, Toastmasters take priority over everything, whether it is professional or personal. Wow, that's some commitment. I give to you DTM Nurul Munawara to conduct the session for us, the table topic session to be held by DTM Nurul. DTM Nurul, the stage is all set for you. Kindly take over.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sudarshan Shehaderi. Yes, this is a new role that I am taking at the Leadership Speaks, because when I go to my clubs in District 82, they never give this sort of roles. Always they wanted me to give some speeches. So I thought, yes, I should come out of the district and start to give my project speeches. Why I am here? Just to enjoy my meetings. So dear friends, we had wonderful prepared speeches, and now I am ready with 15 topics. So any volunteers can raise your hand and take the opportunity and just give which number you want. So I can tell the topic. Of course, this has nothing to do with PCR. Very simple topic, and you can really enjoy it. So, dear Toastmasters, the time will be 1 to 2 minutes, and the timer will time as 1 minute green and 1.5 minute yellow, and at 2 minutes red. So who is going to be the first volunteer to take up the challenge?
I see a hand raised by Deidre.
Deidre.
Hello?
Yeah, there is a hand raised by Deidre. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Yeah,
Yes, it is
her camera is
Deidre.
on.
I couldn't see who is.
She's on the screen now. Yeah.
Can someone help me out? Who is who
Yes,
had
yes,
raised the?
DTM Nurul, the speaker that is volunteered is on the screen, has been spotlighted, so you can
Okay.
give her the topic.
Okay, sure. Yes. May I know what is the number that you are going to select from 1 to 15?
7.
11.
Number 7. 7. 7.
Oh, 7. Okay. Number 7. Wow, interesting topic. Would you break the law or save a loved one? Would you break the law or save a loved one?
If I would break the no or say and loud no, is that the question?
Yes. What would you break the law or save a loved one?
If I would break the law or
Would
save a
you?
loved one. Would you break the law or save a loved one? Someone that you love. Will you save someone that you love, or will you break the law? That's the question.
oh, I would save someone that I love. I would save someone that I love. But if saving someone that I love would cause me to break the law to save his or her life, example, if my husband has a heart attack and I'm rushing to the hospital and I'm supposed to stop and I observe that there's no other traffic in any other direction, I'm going to run the light, which is breaking the law, so that I can reach the hospital in time. So it depends on what it is, I will break the law. Thank you.
Thank you. Just excuse me, maybe you are hearing a train sound. 1 minute. Just few seconds. Yes. Who is going to be the second speaker? Who is going to be the second speaker?
I already raised my hand, Narol.
Sam.
Dinesh.
Dinesh has raised his hand. Next up is Sam.
Yeah. Yes, Dinesh, what is the number you want to get?
9.
9. Yes. One incident when your action spoke louder than your words. One incident when your action spoke louder than your words. Toastmaster Dinesh.
Madam, table topic master, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guest. One incident where my action spoke louder than the words. I'm sure all of you know that I came to Canada many years ago, and I'm very passionate about supporting the newcomers community of Canada. I have been doing this for the last 20 years at my individual level. However, when pandemic hit and we saw 3 million Canadians lost the job, the newcomer community of Canada was the one that was largely impacted. So instead of continuing to say words, one of the things that I started doing was started organizing the virtual webinars to help those who had lost their jobs gain the meaningful skills to become reemployable. We ran a series called Building Your Career in Canada. That action that we did sent a message to the outside world that, yes, I am committed to supporting the newcomer community and the international student community. Now I didn't have to say this. My actions were speaking louder than my words. And through those actions, we have now built a not-for-profit organization called Brilliant Minds Group to support the newcomer and international student community of Canada. And it has already started in less than 2 years' time of its existence. It has already started getting a lot of visibility in the community for the work we are doing it. So that one action has already generated more attention than the words that I would have said. That. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Dinesh. What a wonderful initiative. All of us know what a drastic situation that we went, what a hard time that we went last 2 years. It was not an easy, yes, especially most of the countries, most of the employees, they lost the jobs. What a beautiful initiative. Thank you very much, Dinesh, for the initiative that you have taken. You really have done the work more than the words. Thank you very much. A big round of applause to Dinesh. So I think the next speaker is Toastmaster Sam. Yes,
yeah, hello,
Sam.
yeah.
Hello, Sam. How are you?
Yeah, fine. I'm fine.
Okay. What is the number that you prefer to
So
select?
my preferred number should be number 6.
Number 6. Yes. Number 6. Wow. It's an interesting question. Yes. When you are 80 years old, when you are 80 years old, what will matter to you the most? What will matter to you the most? When you are 80 years old, what will matter to you the most, Toastmaster Sam?
So the question is when I was 80 years old. So what's the material I will be used the most, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So dear Toastmaster and also the distinguished guest. So when you are 80 years old, what will be the material you will be used the most? So I never think about this question before because I never think that someday I will be retired, I will be go to that age. So I think the most things I use should be smile. I want to smile to all of the people. I want to keep optimistic all the time. So the things why I go join the Toastmaster is that I want to be allergic all the time. Even I don't think the people, whenever your age is, you will be keep positive, keep allergic. So when I was 8 years old, no matter what my healthy condition is, no matter my mood is, the only things I can keep is my life attitude. I can keep my life attitude the same as my younger age. So no matter what happened, no matter what things on me, what I want to keep is a positive attitude and keep a smile to all the things, to all the people surround me, to impart others and energize others to keep our life goes on. Thank you. Back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sam. Thank you very much for a wonderful speech. Yes. Who is going to be the third speaker? Yes, Ram. You want to be the next speaker. So what is the number you want to select?
Number 3.
Number 3. Yes. Yes, Ram. Another interesting question. Would you go with aliens if they beam down to Earth? Would you go with aliens if they beam down to Earth? Toastmaster Ram.
Madam TTM, if the aliens were to beam down on Earth, would I go with them? Would I trust them? Would they look like me? There's a lot of my ears are going to open. Do they speak the language I understand? Do they do they resemble anything like me? Or is it going to be just like robots? So I have to do the looking, the hearing, the assessment first of all to see, do I really want to trust these people? Where are they going to take me? What is the benefit by going with them? Is there a inner thing around them? Do they want to capture me eventually? Do they want to take me to a oblivion, somewhere that never could be found again? And Ram could be lost in forever. Or could it be I become another alien? You don't know that until you. Then on the other thought, I am thinking about that perhaps I should take. I'm a chance. I will take a chance. I'll say what it is. Some people say you only die once, so if they were going to get rid of me, so let that be. But I think on a second thought, I'm going to take a chance. Now that I've assessed it, now I think I will take a chance. So at the very beginning, I wanted to measure them. Are they going to be trustworthy? And after a little while, I think I will get to know, even though they didn't speak my language, I am happy that I can trust them and they can take me to Netherlands, a land that is unknown. The sphere, the where that ship, guiding ship, came down and zoomed out of here, and I was lost in oblivion with those individual aliens. Madam TTM, back to you.
For another beautiful speech. So you are going to really evaluate what are they going to do and how they are going to do. So then you will decide. So we have to wait and see before you do the analysis whether they will take you. Yes. Next speaker is Toastmaster Nikita, the timer for today. Yes, Nikita, what is your number?
Number 7.
Number 7, already taken.
Oh, number 9.
Already taken.
2.
2, yes. If you could choose any person from history, if you could choose any person from history to be your imaginary friend, who would it be and why? If you could choose any person from history to be your imaginary friend, who would it be and why? Toastmaster Nikita, over to you.
It would be Albert Einstein.
Oh.
Why? Imagine having conversations with Albert Einstein. Well, it might be really difficult to have a conversation with him, or you might get along with him. Now, on the top of my head, I thought about Albert Einstein because I would love to listen to him and his theories and to just have a look into his mind. I love science, and I can see myself just sitting like this, listening to him. But also Albert Einstein, I think he had autism, if I'm not mistaken. And it takes a very patient person to work and listen and talk and conversate with people who have autism. I think I would have the patience to sit down with him and talk to him an entire evening under the Namibian night sky. Oh, how about that? How about I take Albert Einstein to Namibia and we camp outside, stargazing and speaking about science? Back to you. Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, time Nikita, Toastmaster Nikita. So who is going to be the next speaker?
Nurul,
We lost your audio, Madam Table Topics Master.
Nurul, you're on mute. You might have to unmute yourself.
Oh, she's muted again.
I couldn't see any hands, so I think I can use my power to call anyone in the audience to come and speak. Yes. Toastmaster Olga.
Yes, hello.
Hello, yes.
Hi.
What is the number you want?
Number 1. You're muted.
Yes, very easy topic. Toastmaster Olga, what motivates you? What motivates you Toastmaster Olga.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster. What motivates me? You cannot believe lots of things. One thing is a Toastmaster. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I thought, no, I don't want to dress up. I don't want to make my bed. But then I think, no, I have people to call to. I have people to follow up with. I have meetings to go. I have speeches to prepare. And this motivates me. And the second thing that motivates me, all my kids, believe it or not, I have 4 children. All of them are daughters, beautiful daughters. So I have to lead by example and first make up my bed. Second, make my room beautiful. Dress up in the morning, make my hair, and have my room tidy and my office tidy and the kitchen tidy. So they'll get inspired and they been followed, and they'll have their things tied up. And this really motivates me. All my 4 kids really keep me going and motivate me daily, day by day. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Olga. When you talk about 4 daughters, I have 3 daughters. So thank you very much. And
DTM
who is going to
Nurul,
be?
we'll have to stop table topics here because we are running
Okay,
way
thank
behind
you
time.
very,
So
yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity. So 6 speakers was able to contribute to table topic session. Now the time is up. The Toastmaster, I hand over the control.
thank you very much. And we have the time of all the speakers here. And the first speaker spoke only for 42 seconds and therefore is not qualified for voting. The rest of the speakers are all qualified. So as and when the polls are launched, kindly go ahead and vote for the best table topic speaker. All people on this conference can vote for the best table topic speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, let's quickly
Mr.
move.
Toastmaster, just a
Yeah.
second, Mr. Toastmaster. We do not disqualify in this club for anyone. We just vote for them because of the effort they have put in.
Sure.
Because it's not a contest, is it? Right?
Okay.
So
Great.
that's what we do.
So,
And
which
of
means
course,
all 6 people can be
we
voted
don't
for.
have, sorry, and the other thing is we don't have anyone to set the poll, so they could send it directly to Nurullah if they can.
Yeah, okay. So, fellow Toastmasters and guests, if you could send in your votes directly to DTM Nurul, she can collect the results and share it with our president and our VP Education. They will announce the results at the end of the meeting. Let's now veer in another direction. The trait of a resilient leader is one that seeks feedback actively, acts on the feedback, and craves for even more feedback. Because guess what? Not for nothing is feedback known as the breakfast of champions. And that's exactly what's going to happen now. We will get into the last segment of our meeting, which is the feedback session. This session will be helmed by none other than our club president and our general evaluator for the day, DTM Brahm Memon. He is going to take charge and lead us through the rest of this meeting from here till the receipt of all the reports from each of the role players. So without further ado, I give the stage up to DTM Brahm to take charge and lead the rest of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster of the day, Suarshan Shehaderi, brand new member. He's been with us only 2 weeks and has taken on a huge role. As you know, Leadership Speak is an advanced club, and so we expect advanced performance. And he took the challenge. Congratulations, Suarshan. I will, of course, be addressing more about it at the end in my report. But for now, what my main job is, of course, to introduce the evaluators and give us the evaluation for the speakers, because we want the speakers to improve. Our first evaluator is going to be Aswati Rajan, again, a brand new member, like just joined hot off the press. And she's going to be evaluating another brand new member who's taken on a big role of educating us Leadership Speak speaker. Aswati Rajan, please, welcome.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Abraham. Friends, Napoleon Hill once said that patience, persistence, and perspiration makes an unbeatable combination for success. And today, our leadership speaker, GTM Rozy Rana, brought another version. Persistence, consistency, and resilience makes a deadly combination for success. Ladies and gentlemen and Toastmasters, what a great opportunity to evaluate this great speech by DTM Rozy. Let me tell you, distinguished Toastmaster Rozy, that your speech was PCR speech for me. Powerful, charging, and revitalizing. Now, let me share the highlights which I loved the most in your speech. Stories. Stories are the best way to inspire others. And today, you brought 3 amazing stories. One about Colonel Sanders and the founder of KFC, the story about your own business, and of course about Toastmasters, that how Toastmasters embraced the challenge during pandemic. All these stories made it very clear that why being persistent, consistent, and resilient is so important for becoming a successful leader. So stories, all the 3 stories, they gave credibility to your message. Next was the takeaway messages. At every point, you made sure that you give something to our audience. You connected well with the audience by provoking them with some questions like, can you imagine? Or isn't it that amazing? So from that, after that question, when we started thinking, you just pulled us from there and led to a strong message to say a few keep knocking until the doors open, reflect and refine, recover from setbacks. And you also gave us tips for improving our mental health. So all those messages were very strong. Now, I have only few suggestions for this great speech to make it better. Though you did spoke about your business a bit, I wanted to listen more. I was waiting to hear more that how you applied the theory of Kaizen, especially when you spoke about it, to refine yourself and your business. So that is one small suggestion. And of course, to challenge yourself, I suggest if you could have stood up and showed some body language with strong action, I think that would have created a very strong impact. So altogether, it was a perfect speech with amazing delivery, powerful messages, inspiring stories, beautiful presentations, and you were able to fulfill the objectives. And to improve, I think you can talk a little bit about your personal experience, and which will make your speech more impactful. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Aswati. Notice how this evaluation was done. She opened with a quote and then led into the evaluation itself, starting with the 3 stories and how she liked them, and what the content was, and some of the delivery with suggestions on what she thought would have made it better. And there was a summary at the end, a conclusion as to summarizing her evaluation. So that's a very good way of evaluating a speech. Now, what I find, however, is that because we are in Zoom world and totally online, what I would like to is always all evaluators must address the Zoom presence, online presence, the use of the stage, the use of this little square we are in, and how it's being used, the lighting and so on. It is very, very important being in an online, because in a physical we do mention you moved here, you moved there, eye contact, voice modulation and those things. So we need to incorporate that, especially in a Zoom environment. And leadership speak is based on technology and leadership to provide service to our guests and members. So I like your suggestion, stand. I would have also liked to see, rather than a slide show with a small reduced picture of the speaker, Rozy, I would have liked to see you use that's right, it's called that's a program. I saw that your hand movement, you prefer the right hand your right hand movement more than your left hand movement. So there was more. I loved how you started the speech negative to plus and negativity to positivity. That analogy was awesome. Your conclusion was, wow, PCR to CPR, amazing. So Aswati did a great evaluation there. Thank you very much. Our next evaluator is going to be Lokesh Verma, and he's going to be evaluating Mrinal, Kanti, Ghosh.
Thank you, DTM Brum. Am I audible?
You are audible. Go ahead.
Thank you. Very good morning, good evening to each one of you, and special good evening to Toastmaster Mrinal. Toastmaster Mrinal, your speech has reminded me of a quote. People don't resist change. They resist being changed. And that's what you have shared in your powerful speech. Let me share my evaluation in a 3-segment. The first starting with what you have excelled at. Second, my recommendation, what probably you can work upon, followed by the conclusion. Toastmaster Mrinal, I was really amazed with your speech, especially the opening part. You have started your speech with a quote and followed by a question. And the most important part, I really like your speech. I am evaluating you second time. And this time what I really like is your smiling face. At the beginning, when you started, you were really smiling, and that was adding some, I can say, better effectiveness or the delivery of your message. Good connect. That was a good part. You gave really a good examples of Thomas Edison, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs. Those are really good examples, I must say, for establishing the foundation of your speech objective. Really good to hear some of the idioms in your speech, like dream big and chase your dream. Followed by, you gave really some good insight, how we can better manage our time, how can we do better in our day-to-day life, right? Like, for example, you shared about Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. You shared about to-do list, and you shared about meditation to be better or a healthy mind. And these are something I must say are good takeaway for me as well from your speech. The only part which I recommend is that you may take it as a challenge, is to build on the need part. The need part, when I say what was the real challenge you was facing, what was the objective which have forced you to plan for a change management. You have shared a very simple and a very effective tool, Pareto principle, to-do list, meditation. What was the challenge you was facing? If you could have spent a little more time in that aspect, I think the weightage of the action plan which you have shared, that must be, after that, that weightage will become higher. That's the one part. And let me share an example, how we can do that. For example, I must say that I was finding it so difficult to make a balance between my professional and personal life. It was leading to low effectiveness of my work. It was impacting my health. I was not able to manage my time. And while I was experiencing all this for almost a year, I came across a book called Eat That Frog. And there I learned how important it is to prioritize your daily task from an important and urgent and a different bucket. How important it is to work on your to-do list, and what are the benefit of Pareto principle. After understanding this, I decided to implement these tools in my day-to-day life. And then further, you can develop upon your speech what you have shared, which was all the tools you have shared, the benefit. And the last important point, what was the outcome of all these change management plan execution in your life? I think this challenge foundation and the outcome, the middle part was really strong and a effective, simple tool you have shared with us. To conclude, I must compliment you to share such a wonderful technique with us for a better time management, Pareto principle to-do list, and the benefit of meditation for a healthy mind. Keep smiling, Toastmaster Mrinal, while you deliver your speech. That was, I must say, the best part of your speech beginning. Perfect camera presence and well practiced, I must say, the entire speech. The only thing you can incorporate is to share the challenge you are facing and what was the outcome while implementing those change management plan. And one more best part of your speech was you started with
We are over
question.
time.
You appeared quite confident and well prepared for your speech. Back to you, DTM Brown.
Thank you very much. I would ask the evaluators and all the role players to adhere to a red light. It's not to be ignored. You get 30 seconds more after the red light comes on. Thank you. And of course, Mrinal, I looked at the agenda, it said TBA. I'm sure that wasn't the title of your speech, TBA. I hope not, which means you hadn't entered your speech title on, or it was missed out. We must ensure that when the agenda is ready to be printed and goes out into the world, everything is on the agenda, including your title. What I liked about the evaluation was began again with a quote, and he explained that he'll be doing it in 3 segments. Lokesh, great. What you excelled in, what the recommendations were, and what the conclusions were. Very well done. Of course, you try to address every little part of the speech, and you went way over time. So try and make sure that it's succinct, and then you can give more written notes or speak on the side with the speaker if you need to. But for our purposes here, 3.5 minutes, and that's that drop. That is it. What I would have liked about Mrinal's presentation is enunciation of words. Sometimes his words, for us in the West anyways, because we listen a bit differently. For me, the words tended to sort of come one over the other, and maybe you need to slow down and enunciate your words a bit better. I tend to fall into that trap when I'm speaking fast or when I'm a bit nervous. And use a bit more vocal variety. Otherwise, of course, your Zoom presence and everything else was great. A bit more eye contact would have been also better. Thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you, Lokesh, for your evaluation. Our next speaker is going to be Mohammed Asif Said, another brand new member, extremely brand new. And he's going to be evaluating Sandi Emdin. Mohammed Asif Said.
Very good evening, good morning, Toastmasters and guests, and Sandi, of course, Toastmaster Sandi. What a brilliant energy coming out from your speech, that I was so glued to the speech, listening to all those experiences which you went through, the kick, nudge, and a push. Very brilliantly explained as to how when during leadership you require that kind of a motivation to bring the true essence of yourself as your persona. So it was so brilliantly displayed, and and to be honest, the energy which you display, that's the most charming thing for any speaker. And you demonstrate and you informed us, like, those 3 instances, you showed us the 3 personalities who actually motivated you in different forms. This speech required you to demonstrate to understand your leadership style. And I would challenge you on that aspect to demonstrate, like, what essentially is your leadership style. And or maybe other way around is like, when you, for example, spoke about DTM Brahm or the another partner or the previous person, what was their essential leadership style, whether they were altruistic they followed, or they were innovative, or the pace setting kind of coaching style they were following. And that would have really helped to bring out the sense of what kind of leadership styles are there, and in which situation we could follow that kind of a leadership style, because there is no best way of a leadership style. Each person is unique and they have their own inbuilt persona and their leadership. but bringing in, collaborating, understanding the true pros and cons of different leadership styles definitely helps us to adapt those styles into specific situations. So that kind of an understanding, if you could elaborate into your speech or bring it into your speech, then that would really make you stand out as a leader, because that's what we would be looking for in a speech, in terms of understanding your leadership style, because your experiences are truly very important for those audiences, and they may want to understand from your experience with respect either to your leadership style or to your experiences of other people. So all in saying that, like, you are a brilliant speaker. You have a very good vocal variety, and your smile is charming, magnetic. Using those, all that delivery style, content wise, if you improve it more better, I mean, you're going to be a fabulous or as a speaker. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Asif. A great way of doing an evaluation. If you noticed, Asif began with a summary, overall summary of the content, and then he went into specifics about the speech. So that's a great way of doing an evaluation. And then he mentioned specifically styles, because it was all about leadership styles. What are the styles? Because the project mentions I think there are 4 or 5 different styles, I can't remember offhand, and what each of these persons that you mentioned, Sandi, what sort of styles they were. So Asif was right bang on that one there. I would have liked this Asif a more stronger conclusion. I think when you were arriving at the conclusion, it was a little bit more disjointed rather than as compared to your rest of your evaluation. Sandi, for you as well, Push, Kick, and Nudge was an amazing title. I loved it. It was all about leadership style, of course. What I would have liked, besides what Asif has said, is improve. You were standing today, and you were celebrating the standing, but to me, it didn't appear whether you were standing or sitting, because you're not that far away from the camera. Sometimes, of course, we can move towards the camera, and sometimes further away, and show a bit more of our body, which means then you are standing, and a little bit of sideways movement. But this is your first time, and you are really improving in your presence on Zoom. You are trying your best, and I could see that your camera was great, your lighting was perfect. Loved it all. Thank you very much for that. Our next evaluator is going to be myself, and I'm now going to go and see if I can find my notes. I can't find my notes. Where are they? Here they are. And I'm going to be evaluating Marianna Burka. Hi, Marianna, how are you? Good to see you here. Wonderful speech again. I heard it last night, and I heard it today again. And now, I know you sent me the notes during the meeting, so I couldn't read them. I may not be able to do perfect justice to that. As you know, I only like to do one role at a time. And the way I'm speaking today, it means I'm doing 2 roles. That's why I'm hesitating a lot. My mind is all flabbergasted right now. I'll try my best. Mark Laverne mentioned your background, how great your background was, and you used the same background today. He touched a bit on your content and delivery, but not as much last evening. For improvement, he'd mentioned good info on nutrition and the human psychology would have been better, and to do that. There was nothing mentioned about your Zoom delivery, of course, last night. So that's what happened last night. And I thought today as well, some of those things were still missing about nutrition. Is what exactly is it? And sure, it's not really a science, it's more of an art for sure, because depending on where you've come from, if your family has been eating a particular way for the past 500 years, then you need to eat similarly, unless it was not that healthy and you have to adjust a few things. That's what I would have really liked to hear. Here's the reason why. I come from Kenya. Now, life expectancies have increased compared to when my mother and my grandfather were born, and they were growing up. Life expectancy at that time was below 60. Now it's pushing to 80. So how can we be more healthy towards 80 is what I would really like, my opinion, what I would like to hear. I heard your mothers and mother, and they provided great nutrition food. Perfect. So you went back into history. Then you mentioned your mother and father and the human evolution, and you went back. So twice you went, so from our beginnings. And so you could have sort of summarized it in one, that particular idea. What I would like to hear more, however, is your vocal variety needs to improve a bit more, which I've been always pushing, and I'll push you a bit more here as well, Marianna, because you are capable, and you should. When you say you are a miracle, say you are a miracle. Did you know that? And then pause. So I call this the HPL rule: high, pause, and low, or LPH: low, pause, and then go high. That is really what I would have liked to see more on your vocal variety. And so you are practicing, and so go to the next level now on that vocal variety. I liked the nutrition science. I'm not a scientist, and the Newtonian physics versus quantum physics. And so our cells are based on quantum physics, not Newtonian physics. Absolutely right. You're perfectly correct there. 30 grams, 100 grams of alcohol, your body knows. I like all those things. However, as I said, also because of life expectancy and whatever, we just can't keep eating what we've been eating. If you really want to live well and healthy, when you're 80 or 100, you won't be able to sort of get up and sit down properly without, aids and so on. And I've consulted in hospitals and see all these aged people around 70, 75 needing a lot of help. And so what would be that nutrition? The red light's gone on. Thank you so much for your presentation. I loved the lighting, of course, and the Zoom presence as well. Thank you very much. And I will now move on to our timer. Nikita, can you please give us the timing for the evaluators, including me, of course, which I probably went over time as well. Nikita?
Would you like me to call it out? Everything is in the chat. Our first evaluator.
Yeah, did you leave it in the chat? Sorry. Perfectly. That's okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you can quickly mention that, what's the chat then? Because, I'm doing several roles at the same time, so I'm a bit distracted. I only like to do one role at a time. So go ahead. Go ahead and mention that.
Our first evaluator, Aswati, took 3 minutes, 11 seconds. I put some more sub-seconds there. And our second evaluator, Lokesh Verma, took 5 minutes, 13 seconds, which was the longest. And then we had Mohammed Siak. He took 3 minutes, 9 seconds. And Brahmo, you took 3 minutes, 56 seconds. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, so people are already voting for the best evaluator. Perfect. Let's keep doing that. I think, of course, we missed out the speaker, the leadership speaker, and the leadership speaker evaluator on the poll today, but that's okay. Sometimes you go through learning experiences. The person who actually set up the poll was here this morning just to set it up. She wasn't going to be in the meeting actually, but she did come just to make sure that she was setting things up. So when I meet Francois, I will be congratulating her on her effort and her willingness to be here, despite she wasn't going to be in the meeting, to set things up for us. Thank you. So that is part of my general evaluation, of course. And I will not take 7 minutes, but I will be brief here on my general evaluation. If I can find my notes very quickly. Here we go. Now, I will begin with thank you, the grammarian here first. Mr. Grammarian, if you can just take 1.5 minutes maximum.
Mr. Toastmaster, I'll do my very best in timing that for
Thank
1.5. We did well. My both ears were open, and as a grammarian requirement, you must listen to it. I set a word of the day quota at 20. We surpassed that, and we made it 24. And in the other things is the timer. Sorry, the Toastmaster. He used it 7 times. I was first speaker, leadership speaker at 8 times. And good use of the word reinvent, just like a leadership speaks. And the other things are not too bad. If I were to look 5 times, always. And one time I caught Rozy almost using a filler word. Instead, she used a pause. Recommended quite well. And other than that, one more last thing, singularity and plurality. You want to use Toastmaster not interchangeably. Don't use, they're two different things and they apply differently. Toastmaster and Toastmasters. You're a Toastmaster. You're a member of a Toastmasters club. With that, back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Grammarian. Thank you very much for your report. I will continue with my general evaluation. And what I will do is, in leadership speak, we are focused on what happened before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting, not only just during the meeting. Leadership really happens actually in between the meetings. And so I will focus on what happened in between the meetings, which means before this meeting began. This morning, when I went on Easy Speak, 5 individuals had not stated their intention of whether they were going to attend or not. And after the meeting began, three individuals still hadn't said whether they will be attending or not attending. I think our membership department should really focus on, are people really telling us where they're coming or not? Because at the end of the day, you're going to be following up on those who didn't come. If they didn't come for 2 or 3 meetings, you have to follow up with them eventually anyways to why they're not attending. So attendance and Easy Speak is very, very important for members to do that. And members should be going on Easy Speak. It's the collaboration tool. I think the VP of Education is right now helping people with putting them on and ticking them off as whether they're attending or whether they're taking on the role. It should really be done by the members themselves because it's a collaboration tool. And when members come on Easy Speak, they're saying, I'm part of the team and I'm letting my team members know whether I'm there or not there and what role I'm taking and what role I'm declining and so on. So the members should really be doing that and they should be doing it consistently. I also find the emails are to be sent from Easy Speak. You know, there's a button which actually tells please log into into Easy Speak and confirm your role, confirm your attendance and so on. That is not being done by the education department. So we need to tighten up those things that are done before the meeting. The polls were not set up by 9 a.m. They were set up after 9 a.m. Some of the agenda items were moved around or were not clear around 9:28. They should have been done before 9 o'clock. This is leadership speak, right? Leadership happens before the meeting. So that's hence the reason why. Guests were graded well by not only by the Sergeant at Arms, who is also the VP of membership, but also by the other members of the club, which means it's an enthusiastic club. This club is doing very well because at one point in time, I noticed that there were more than 35 people on the screen, which means we are a very good team currently. We are collaborating well, but we need to raise it to the next level. Mr. Toastmaster of the day, great start with the meeting. I really loved how you explained the theme and what it really meant, and that was very well done. I think that, though, however, you were not cognizant of the time when you were doing preaching, and we were starting to lose time bridging between speaker to speaker, and so that is very, very important to note. Brent Patterson, our immediate past president, the toast. When you tell people to raise their glasses, when they are raising their glasses, it should only be 3 words at the time, because people are supposed to repeat that phrase that you raise the toast to. So it was a huge long sentence, and we didn't know what to say. It should only be maximum 3 words when you raise the toast. So it could have been to persistence, consistency, and resiliency, or something similar that you wanted to, and should be 3 words so that the rest of the people can repeat those words. This is how a toast is done anyways in North America and European countries. I don't know about the other countries, but the reason why we have a toast here is that at Toastmasters International and in conventions, we do have toasts when we have dinners and so on. And sometimes they're called invocations. And so we need to learn how to do those things in more formal settings. Hence, we have that particular aspect in here. I already talked about the speakers table topics. For table topics, Nurul, what you could have done is you could have picked the names beforehand, never ask for volunteers because, you know, hands don't go up. And also because table topics is really secondary to leadership speak. What is more important at leadership speak is evaluations, speeches, and what we do with amongst ourselves in between the meetings as leaders. That shows up, of course, in the meeting. And as I've mentioned already, what showed up in the meeting. I mean, for most people who are guests don't notice that, but we are leaders and we want to take it to the next level. And so to those of us who are leaders and really on the edge of leading and learning new ways of leading, becoming better leaders, things become more noticeable. Thank you very much, everyone. That is my evaluation for the meeting. I didn't see the timer doing my 5 to 7 minutes, or maybe I was under 5 minutes, but that's great. Back to you, Suarshan Shehaderi. Very well done for a first timer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. That was feedback which is well received. Thank you very much for that. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, in the interest of time, I will keep it very short. PCR is a requirement, was a requirement during pandemic, forced upon us. Now in the post-pandemic world is even more of a requirement. And the reason why I say so is because if you look around us, the debris of that which has fallen by the wayside because of the fact that they could not keep pace with what is happening in the world is just overwhelming. It's extremely easy to give up. It's extremely easy to point fingers in 20 different directions and say it's not my fault, it's the environment, it's the surrounding, it's etc. etc. But guess what? There are still those among us who have not only grown during the pandemic, and I'm not talking about the horizontal growth that most of us had, I'm talking about the vertical growth even post 40 that many people have had. And that has come only because these are people that truly imbibe the spirit of being persistent, being consistent, and being resilient. And this, like that rubber ball which you slam at the wall and comes back to you at the exact same speed that which you threw at, it is exactly the same. The more persistent, the more consistent, and the more resilient you are, the higher you shall raise in your chosen path, in your chosen journey. So here is to being more persistent, more consistent, and more resilient to each and every one of you. I thank you for having me as your Toastmaster of the day, and I hand the controls back to our president to close the meeting.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It is 11:29, so I will ask all the guests to remain here. We will actually adjourn the meeting, but please have the guests remain here because we want to talk to you. And Fabiola here is our VP of membership, and she is now going to attempt, she's brand new at this. So now for the first time, I'm handing it to her, straight to her rather than me intervening. If you don't know who the guests are, please let me know, Fabiola. I know you're brand new, you're still getting your feet wet. This meeting, as far as the meeting is concerned, is adjourned, but please, guests, we would like to talk to you. Over to you, Fabiola.